Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Stranger Things 2, Season 2, Episode... Did I say episode or not? No, I don't. Just Stranger Things 2, Chapter 6, The Spy.
You change your mind on this intro every time.
It's because they've called it Stranger Things 2 instead of Season 2, so I have to make the internal debate, do I go with one or the other? And then I get to the fact that they put chapter number in the title of the episode, so do I say episode number as well? Because then I'm being redundant almost. I'm like, oh, the episode 6, chapter 6. So I could either make it really short and just be like Stranger Things 2, Chapter 6, The Spy, or I could be Stranger Things 2, Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 6, The Spy.
We are 2/3 into this season, and you are still having this debate with yourself every single episode.
This is the worst it's been, though.
That was pretty bad. You stumbled after Stranger Things. You're like, 2 or Season 2? You paused.
I wasn't prepared. So anyway, we're here. We're going to talk about Episode 6. Which, I said this last episode, that last episode felt super, super Stranger Thingsy. This one is also super Stranger Thingsy. We're full swing into...
This is peak strange.
Peak strange, yes. We get, different groups of kids working together with plans and formulating things, and you end with a hell of an Aliens kind of homage, which is notable because you have Paul Reiser watching it happen on the screens exactly like he did in the movie Aliens in a very similar plot point. Which I thought was particular because it's like it was fine on its own. I was like, oh yeah, it's good. It's just leading the team in and they're getting attacked by all the monsters, and I'm like, wait a minute, Paul Reiser's watching this. He did the exact same thing in Aliens, huh? So lots of fun stuff. Where did we begin? I suppose we.
I guess start with Nancy and Jonathan.
Yeah, sure.
Just because they're the side story. Let's get that out of the way.
They're the simplest stuff. There was no 11 in this episode, although judging from the screen, Netflix puts up an image for the next one.
Yeah.
Judging from the next episode, I think the next one's actually all 11, just based on the image. I could be wrong, but she's definitely there.
Given the way this ends, I can see them doing that as the cliffhanger. Like, okay, we're keeping away from this for one.
Yeah, we don't get the resolution to this cliffhanger till episode 8. I feel like that's what we're.
That makes sense to me.
I could be wrong, but that's my impression. So, Jonathan and Nancy, they're over at Bauman's. We see they're printing off, or let's say copying the tape. They're making copies and they're putting in envelopes. And he's so happy. He's giving his underager some drink. He's like, "Here, have some vodka," and they're all happy. But because he's a nut job and he doesn't know how to have social skills, he does not know how to sidestep the fact that they're clearly into each other, but they're pretending they're not to be. So he's just kind of blatant and goes, "That's the first lie you've told me tonight, and you've told me a lot of strange things."
Yeah, it was like you say a lot of shockers, but that's the first lie.
And they try and defend, and like, oh, because he's like, take my guest room. And like, oh, that's the other thing. He's saying here, drink, and also, yeah, use my guest room to have sex, you pair of underage people. He just doesn't give a shit. No, of course, people their age are doing that all the time. It's just weird that there's an adult going, here, have some booze. Yeah, use the guest room, it's fine.
Yeah, he's like, well, they're going to do it. Might as well do it. They might as well do it where it's warm.
Lie to your parents, it's fine. Tell them you're at Nancy's or Susie or whatever. I get the impression he doesn't even know the friends. He's just like rhyming some names. He's just, here's some examples. You know your friends' names better than I do. Go for it. And it basically goes on to them, and they're feeling kind of awkward because of the whole interaction. And they both get up in the middle of the night because he's in the pull-out sofa in the office or whatever it is, and they sort of run into each other in the main room again, and they're like, "Oh, hey, this is awkward. Hey, that thing he was saying, that was all. Yeah, he just misunderstands. Yeah, we're just friends. It's fine." And they both go back to their own rooms, and then she gets back up again after a moment of hesitation, opens the door, and I knew he was going to be standing there. Like that's how it was going to play.
Moment. Yeah, it's cliche, but it's fine.
Yeah. Sure enough, Jonathan's standing right there. They finally kiss after all this time. The music in particular here I was really enjoying.
Yeah, it was nice.
Very, synthy love theme, finally happening, culmination, good stuff. And then when they're at breakfast the next morning and they're all sitting there quietly, Bauman's there, he's eating breakfast, they're both eating breakfast. After some silence, and Bauman's just sort of looking back and forth like, "So, Jonathan, how was the pull-out?" And he does a spit take.
Yes.
Yes. He's like, no, the pull-out sofa. He's like, oh yeah, it was fine.
I love that he knows exactly what he's doing. He's just having fun with the
Oh,
kids.
oh yeah. He knows what they think he's meant, and he's doing it intentionally. And my favorite part of the whole scene, though, is Nancy never says a word. She just has this cheeky look on her face the entire time. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, we got laid
yeah,
last night.
yeah,
As she's eating
exactly.
her eggs. Yeah, the whole thing's very amusing. It's a very quick plot to talk about because that's basically it. And then he like kicks them out and says, "Yeah, don't come back."
And gives them
And
some vodka.
it gives us some vodka for the road. Yes, here, underagers, take
I
take
mean,
a bottle of booze.
he gives them the stuff to water it down.
Yeah, they can get it themselves though. They don't need that from him.
They could. I think it's his way of being responsible. Is like, well, at least water it down. You know, it won't be don't have it all at once.
It's not an ideal match, though. I feel like you need more than one bottle of the
Oh,
soda.
you definitely
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not going to be enough to. Because just doing 50 to 50, or 1 to 1, I should say, rather, is not going to be very
No,
watery.
it's not that effective. No, you still got to get very, very drunk. I can attest to that.
Oh, you've tried that ratio, have you?
Many a time.
Right.
Many too many times.
So that's basically it. And they come home and they find all the drawings in Jonathan's house, from because Will and that are all gone by this point. Obviously, they left last episode, and they're like, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" And they find a bit of evidence to suggest that someone's been here taking photos. This isn't my camera, and that'll be what leads them to the lab, I assume, next episode. But that was basically it. But it was really sweet culmination of everything they've been building to for the last couple of years and all the chemistry and whatnot.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of like everything else was so not heavy. It's not a heavy show in that sense, but everything else was so like plot and horror focused and like
Yeah,
thread.
it was all ramped up.
Yeah. Whereas this was the nice sort of like just little heartwarming kind of side story. This
Yeah,
episode.
there's a reason it started with this.
Yeah. Well, it started with Will actually freaking out still, but
Yeah, but most of the plot then this comes right like I think this is right after the opening credits.
after the opening titles because
Yeah.
we start with Will freaking out, then it goes to the start of the dart hunt with Steve and Dustin, and I think we'll go there next. Actually, I think we'll go to the dart hunt because I feel like it'll play nicer into the other plot from the end of this one.
I have
So
a bold statement to make.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first episode of the entire show where I think I like Steve.
oh, this is big news.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it's the first episode of the entire show you like Billy, and I was like, what, really?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I love Billy.
Yeah, but you don't love him as a person. You love him as a douchebag character.
Oh, exactly. He's amazing for that.
He's got a mullet and he's weightlifting. He's basically the hyped up version of Josh Brolin's character from the Goonies. That's kind of what they're going for, but he's more of a dickhead.
He is the ultimate prick.
He's the 80s teenage prick, specifically.
He is, but he's pretty great at it.
Yeah, so we have Steve and Dustin who are they've went back to Dustin's place with the shelter, and he's got he's got his bat out and he's like hitting the door like to see if they hear anything, and Dustin's like, well, you go in, I'll stay up here in case it tries to get out.
Yeah.
And of course Steve's like excited by this prospect, and he goes down, and I knew what they were going to find. I was sort of smelling to myself, they're going to find it shed its skin again. It's going to be even bigger than it was before.
Yeah.
And sure enough, big gonky skin just traipsing off the floor, and a giant hole, which is how we end the sort of the cold open. We end with this sort of shot saying, "Oh, it could be anywhere. It's out there in the trees."
Yeah, it's such a great shot.
So they assemble a plan. They end up getting a lot of beef, basically raw cow. They're just traipsing around down the tracks, and we actually end up at the location we were familiar with last season with the junkyard with the bus. Like I vividly remember those moments with the bus last season, so it was really nice to bring that back. And it was like, okay, here's a location in the town that's really recognisable that we're going to use again. And obviously, Lucas finally hears from his sister because he's upset his sister's playing with his He-Man toy. He's like, hey, don't go in my room. He's like, well, your stupid friend's fault. Code red, code red. He's like, what? Code red? Because Lucas, they've got codes. They know what they're
Of
talking
course,
about.
they've got codes.
They know what they're talking about. So he gets in touch and he's like, yeah, meet us at the junkyard. But Lucas doesn't go directly there. Lucas actually goes and gets Max first, which is very interesting. And I got very nervous because he was going up to the door and I was like, oh no, the brother's going to answer. And
I know.
oh, that's going to be bad. And he doesn't, because of course he's awful enough to make her answer the door, even though he's like much closer to it.
To be fair, He does have the big weights.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Yeah, I get it. You're in a rhythm. This is one that I can defend. If you're legitimately working out, you're in a rhythm. You go, hey, can you go onto the door? I'm kind of in. You're in the middle of something.
okay, you sympathise with Billy. We'll keep that in mind.
Just in this one instance, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, but it was very tense though, because Max sees it's Lucas that jumps out,
Immediately
talks
bolts
to him,
and shuts the door.
the door, talks to him and stuff, and you see like they're talking for a little bit. I'm like, this is taking a while. He's going to get suspicious, and then you come back inside, and Billy's just kind of like he's looking over at the door, and he's like, "What's going on?" And he starts walking towards the door slowly. And it's like, "Oh no, he's going to see Lucas. This is going to be bad." But she comes in. He's like, "Oh no, there was a Mormons and stuff," and like, yeah, I told him to go, and he's getting into a room, and he doesn't trust her because he opens the door again, and he looks back out, and no one's there.
Yeah, I think he knows.
Yeah, he senses something. But of course, Lucas is round the back, and Max jumps out her window and goes on the back of his bike. So,
with any luck, Billy will try and follow them, and will get eaten.
that is possible. That is completely possible. So yeah, so they all kind of converge. So we have Lucas and Max mixing up with Dustin and Steve back at the junkyard.
You've overlooked the bit of why I actually like Steve. It was
the train tracks
Steve and
conversation.
Dustin on the train tracks,
okay.
and Dustin's like, "Hey, what about your hair?"
Well,
okay. Well, there's build-up, but it comes to just talking about the hair.
You're jumping ahead.
I don't care about the rest. The hair is the important part.
Yeah, he's trying to tell him how to get girls to be interested. You have to tell you don't care all this. It's not just the hair, but then it comes back to the hair, and he confesses how he gets his hair like that.
It was cracking me up. And the way afterwards is like, if you tell anyone, I'm going to kill you.
Well, what was the name of the spray again? It was an actress, I think.
I can't remember.
Oh, God, I can't remember either, but it was like, shampoo, condition, and then when it's damp. Not when it's wet. When it's damp, you spray it with this.
Yeah.
It's like
four sprays.
Yeah, if you were telling anyone about this, I will kill you. No, it's fun.
It's got pretty impressive hair, to be fair.
what I like though is it kind of homaged, like Dustin and Lucas are talking to each other, and he's like confessing, like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I told Max everything." And you're like, "What, you told her?" And like, they have this conversation, and they go to make up at the end, and Lucas is like, "Hey, look, we'll get through this," and he puts his hand out. It was very reminiscent because you remember when Lucas and Mike fell out last season, we had that whole big handshake moment. I remember that getting into the titles one episode last season. And they almost shake hands, but then Steve's like, "Hey, you assholes! Why is the only one helping me? This random girl that I don't know."
Yeah, I actually really quite like it's almost a love theme. I think I'll call it. It's you know when Lucas and Max show up, and Dustin just kind of stares off, and Steve kind of figures it out, and then it looks back over to Max, and this really nice little piece of music comes in. And it's almost. I think a love theme sounds a little bit, too far, but it's kind of verging on that.
Affectionate theme.
Yeah, but that doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
No, but yeah, if you're saying love's too strong,
it's more accurate.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're setting up this plan. They've got their main chunk of meat in the middle of this area. They're getting like metal sheets and stuff to reinforce the bus, cover the windows. All that kind of thing. They're going to hide in the bus, and they're going to have this plan, and this is what I mean when I'm saying it gets very Stranger Things. Like this whole idea of like we have this group of kids like forming a plan, being proactive, setting everything up, and working together. Obviously Max is still doubting that any of this is real, but Steve's like, no, it is. Like we fought this thing, and I don't think it ever occurred to us actually that this thing's just growing into a Demogorgon. Like last season's thing. Like that's what it is. That's what it's growing into.
It crossed my mind, and then I was like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It's just monster from the upside down, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But it seems to be that's what it's actually growing into. I think it was more noticeable in this one when we see it like open its mouth again. I was like, oh, it's starting to really look like that now.
Yeah.
As opposed to when it was a little bastard. But
I liked how Max was still questioning it, but then when Steve started kind of confirming it, she was like, okay. He's older. He's got no reason to lie.
Well, she still questions a bit. He's like, "You sure it wasn't a bear?"
Yeah. That's. I mean, she's not. She's trying to convince herself though at that point. I think. Like, are you sure? Like, whereas I think she is starting to. She's like, okay, I can see why Lucas might lie to me because she's picking things up, but it's like, well, this guy's got no reason to.
Yeah. Oh, of course, later, I can't wait until Steve finds out that her big brother's the douchebag that's been giving him hassle
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
during gym. I'm curious about that. But Dustin gets a little bit ratty. He's a little bit, oh, if you don't care or you don't believe us, why are you here? And Steve thinks he's just playing it hard to get.
I love it. Yeah, he goes, oh, nice one, nice one. Pretend you don't care. He's like, I don't care. Steve's like, right, winks. Dustin's like, why are you winking?
So he's up on the roof because Lucas is up there on lookout. They've got a little sandbag, sort of like, it's almost like a little military fort,
It is,
like,
yeah.
kind of like watching for the monster coming. And they have a little heart to heart. She confirms that their step brother, sister, and that like they came here because I can't remember which way around it was, but like
Her mum.
her mom wanted to get away from her, her father, so they moved here. And like no one's really happy about it, but like and but I think the more interesting part of the conversation though is she talks about how Billy's like a real complete asshole because he's angry and upset about like the current predicament, the divorce, the moving,
being here.
yeah, being here. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I think I act like him a little bit too much. I get really angry, and we see she's got a bit of anger on her. We've seen that she's a bit of a hothead, but she doesn't want to be. She wants to be better than that. So they have this little moment, and he listens, and they're like, "Oh, I like talking to you, Mad Max. I like talking to you, Stalker. What a nickname for your potential boyfriend. Hey, Stalker."
Yeah. It's a little on the odd side.
Yeah. But of course, the monster shows up. The Demogorgon, the old dart, shows up, and he's walking towards the meat, and he's not quite going for it though. So Steve's like, "I've got this." Comes out with his baseball bat. And he's walking towards him. Oh, by the way, it's kind of over the top, but I do love how the mist is like rolled in, and it's like proper, like.
See, I thought it was kind of really stupid at first. In the moment, I was like, "Why is it so misty all of a sudden?" But it kind of justifies it later on, where it's like, "No, they're bringing the mist. They're bringing the fog with them."
Yeah. But I like it because again, just in terms of talking about nostalgia and harkening back to 80s movies, I feel like this type of scene in an 80s movie would always have mist. Even if it didn't make sense, but there would be mist there.
There'd always be mist pouring in when a door opens or something.
Yeah. So on that alone, I'm willing to go with it. But yeah, right.
That's fair.
It kind of justifies it because because we find out there's more than one. Like Dart's not the only one who's been growing around town. There's several. And that's when you think, oh, Steve's in trouble here, and that's when all the kids all notice and like, Steve, abort, come back, there's more. And he's in serious trouble for a second, and he gets back into the bus, and this is where Max finally gets a good look at one of them because it goes up top to the opening where they've been climbing up to the roof, and she sees one right in the
she
eye.
Sees the mouth open.
Yeah, there's no eye per se, but the mouth opens in her face.
Right in the gullet.
Yeah. And she just screams her head off. Good little screamer, actually. That was a proper horror movie scream.
It was a good scream, yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of, like, so things are going down, like, oh, how are they going to get out of this? And then they all leave. It's like they get a call, and they all just kind of scatter off.
Yes.
And Steve's like, they're going somewhere. This entire scene, by the way, is fantastic. Like, we're kind of like, we've went through it, but I just want to say how much I like the whole setup. I like them in the bus, I like them waiting, I like Steve going out and being in danger. Running back.
It was a lot of fun, and then we got some real action stuff going on.
Yeah. It felt like we're really hitting some climatic sort of beats here, in escalation. But of course, this ties into where the plot with Will and Mike and Hopper and Joyce and Bob and a lot of other characters.
And basically everyone else we've not mentioned except 11.
Yeah, because they're out at the lab. They're working with Will. And of course, they actually get to the point where they're testing what we've already been saying. They actually, the scientists kind of get to the point and like, let's test something. They bring in one of the tentacles and they're like, let's burn this. And like Will starts like thriving and he's like, hurts all over, everywhere, painful. And they're like, okay, right, so this affects him. Because this is after he shows Hopper. He takes Hopper down, and he's like, hey, this is spreading like a cancer. And Hopper's like, why aren't you just burning it? And we find out they've already stopped burning because they suspect that it's hurting Will. Well, they've actually already stopped that.
It's surprisingly noble of them.
Well, it is. And actually, I really like the scene because I think we've been doubting Paul Reiser, Dr. Owens, like his character. I feel like we've been like, he's going to turn out to be a scumbag. And maybe it's because of Aliens where he turns out to be a scumbag. But in the meeting with the other scientists, and to be fair, I understand their point as well, but the other guy's basically, because he's like, we need to start burning because it's the only thing we can do. And he's like, yeah, but what if it kills the boy? And he's like, and he basically quotes Rocky IV, Ivan Drago. He's like, if he dies, he dies. That's basically what he says.
Yeah.
And Riser's like, oh, I don't want to listen to this. Say that to me again. And he gets his stress ball out and he's like, I'm going to think. And he storms off to his office. And what I like about it is, like, okay, he's actually maybe a better person than we thought he was to begin with. We thought he was a bit more seedy, maybe a bit more kind of like, the guy from the first season.
It seems really, like being off the books and shady. But, yeah. I mean, understandably so, given what they're dealing with. But it seems they have seemingly good intentions. At least he does, because, like I say, he could just have kept burning. But as soon as they started suspecting that this is going to affect the kid, he's made, presumably him, has made the call to stop.
But you kind of get where the other guy's coming from. He's maybe a bit cold with how he says it. But when you think about it, like, let's say it's just not just the town at stake. Let's say if this keeps spreading and the whole world's in danger. One boy's life is not worth damning the entire planet, right? It's just, cold hard logic.
It's why I kind of feel like Will might be the one to make that choice.
Yeah, maybe. And of course he's going to feel guilty because he has another sort of vision. And we also find out that he's losing his memories as well. Like, because he can vaguely remember Mike. He can't remember Bob. Actually, I want to mention, when Bob comes over and he's like, oh, who are you? My first thought wasn't that he'd lost his memory. My first thought was this was his true sight, and that Bob had changed in some way.
Oh, really?
Okay. Because how he was down in the pits last episode.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Obviously, that went out the window as soon as he started to forget everyone else as well. I was like, okay, right, he's just...
Yeah, no, I think for me, my immediate assumption was he'd forgotten the past year, like since the event, because it was Bob that he was forgetting and doctors, but he remembered Mike and he remembered his mom, so it was like, okay, it seems he remembered things that were there before all this went down in season 1.
I mean, even with Mike, it was like, oh, he's my friend.
Yeah, it was a little bit hazier, don't be wrong, but at first I was still like, okay, it could still be just up to a point.
But he has another one of these visions, and he's like, oh, there's a thing that it doesn't want me to see, this big thing, it doesn't want me to see, this the shadow monster doesn't want me to see. And he's like, go here. And we have the very Aliens-esque thing where we have all these soldiers in their hazmat suits go in with their guns, and they've all got cameras, and we can see, oh, it's the graveyard pit that Hopper saw before, and he even recognised it because he's watching as well.
Yeah.
And this was all sort of like coming right after all the monsters had left the other scene with the other characters. And
I think it's why you kind of knew where they were going.
Yeah,
as soon as they left.
I think pretty quickly I'm like, Will's setting them up. He's
doomed them. I didn't get it when he'd gone, oh, okay, it's this place. He points to this area.
Not then.
As soon as all the baby Demogorgons leave them on the bus, I'm like, and it goes, oh, they're going somewhere. I'm like, oh, it's a trap.
Yeah. And this is where I started to feel very Aliens, because I could see where it was going, and I'm like, Paul Reiser's watching this just like his character in Aliens. This is amazing.
Yeah.
But they're going in and they're like, oh wait, there's something here, and they all get jumped like really quickly and they all die. And we end in this really dark moment is like Hopper's just staring like past the camera, like the monitor.
Yeah.
Just like...
I love how the fog pours in though, and this is where it justified it. I'm like, no, they're bringing the fog with them intentionally.
Yeah, it's their atmosphere essentially. They're bringing.
They're covering themselves.
Yeah. No, this was a really solid episode. I was super into it. The hunting Dart was fun, especially the climax of it. All the Will stuff really came to something, and I think his guilt over doing this, because he feels even before as it's happening, he's like, I'm sorry. He's like telling Mike, I'm sorry, like. And
and obviously Mike realizes what's going on.
Yeah, he's kind of a spy. He's kind of, that's what the episode's called. That's why it's called that. But the idea that this infection is like forced him to do this. And maybe that guilt will lead to something.
And then you kind of lead into the cliffhanger where he kind of just tells him, it's like, just go, get out of here quickly. It's coming.
Yeah, this town's doomed. Just leave. That's where we are. So.
Well, I mean, I thought it was more specific to this building, because obviously then you kind of see them. Like, just get out of here now. Get out, like, go, because then obviously we cut to the hand, paw, foot,
hand.
We go with the hand.
Claw. Whatever. It's a limb. Get to your point.
Yeah. We end with that. Coming up out of the hole into the lab.
Yeah. It's big. It's epic. It feels like a big proper cliffhanger. Which is why, given that I'm seeing the image of next episode is 11 with the number 8 and her team from the start of the season.
Okay. Yeah.
I expect that's going to be the full, especially since we got no 11 this episode. Although, having mentioned 11 though, we have glossed over a scene with Hopper calling the cabin, which was a very good scene. It was Hopper, like, because he's realised that he's been gone for like 2 days or whatever now, that all this is taking place, and he goes over to the car and he's talking to her on the radio, and he's like, it basically also comes down to, like, I'm sorry I'm not there, and I want you to know I'm not mad. Like, this isn't about us fighting, this isn't about that. And I think it goes back to me thinking he was feeling guilty, and he almost apologised and then didn't, because he was being too stubborn. I think this goes back to that, where here he's really like, no, like, I could have died, and this might be the last thing I ever said to her. But it's really sad and bittersweet because we know she's not there, and I love that the camera shows you that. Like, even though we know she's gone, but the camera shows you right now this place is empty. He's talking to no one, and it makes it much more sad, and it really amplifies the scene and the emotion of it.
Yeah, do you know what I really like? I like the touch that he tries the Morse code first, and then he doesn't get a reply. So that's when he's like, "No, I'm just going to try and speak to her." Like, it's like maybe he thinks that she's still just mad at him and ignoring him and not responding because of that. But no, it's pretty sad.
So no, it was a really well handled scene. It was good emotional, and I think their bond is surprisingly touching actually. When it wasn't really there last season, like they didn't really.
And he's like, get some proper food. Don't just eat the Eggos.
Yeah, cook some proper food. Yeah.
Yes, eat the peas. I know they're mushy and disgusting, but eat them.
Yeah, don't eat mushy. Never eat mushy peas. Like, if you're gonna have peas, have regular proper peas.
Garden peas.
Garden peas. Yeah, not mushy ones though. Mushy is disgusting.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. So no, there you go. That's episode 6 of Stranger Things. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there, but otherwise it is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?